This session is the most important one of all. In fact, I would encourage you to listen to this a couple of times until you get down these specific rules for delivery. Now, when you deliver a speech, you can deliver a manuscript speech, would be something that's completely written out and you read it. That would just force you to use a lot of eye contact. There's an impromptu speech when someone just hands you something and you only have a short amount of time to prepare. And then there's a memorized speech, which you memorize the manuscript speech, which would allow you to have better delivery. But most speeches that are given are extemporaneous, and that's the key phrase outline. And using a key phrase outline will allow you to interact with your audience. So most of the speeches are going to be extemporaneous. And so these guidelines are geared towards an extemporaneous presentation. Let's start with all four of these nonverbals: voice, stance, gestures, and eye contact. Did you know that 92% of meaning is embodied in nonverbals? And according to nonverbal communication experts, the tone of voice, or the variance of voice, is a nonverbal. So when I say I'm not angry, my content says I'm not angry. If it were a text, you'd say, okay. But my nonverbals, which are 92% of meaning, are going to tell you that I'm angry. So people are going to listen to your nonverbals, and they really happen quite naturally, unless you're just an expert liar. The voice is where we're going to start. A couple of things about, at least 4 things about voice. You want to breathe properly, you want to project your voice, you want to vary your voice, and you want to find your optimum pitch. So breathing is something that you'll probably need to be coached on. You breathe from your diaphragm, and you project your voice forward. A lot of repetition and exercise. If you are a singer, you'll understand this, and you won't have to practice it very much. So you want to project your voice forward. The other thing you want to do with your voice is find the optimum pitch so you can vary around it. We usually talk down here a little bit lower. You want to find a few pitches higher, up to 4 or 5 pitches higher. So that's my optimum, that's my normal pitch. So I want to go that's probably a little high too, that right there. So I want to project a few pitches higher and vary my tone around the optimum pitch. Those of you that are men that are listening, this is especially true for you, because men generally need to move that pitch a little higher. The audience needs that. You need that clarity and that variance. In addition, you can not only vary tone, you can vary rate. So if you are really emphasizing a point, you can slow down. If you are wanting to, telling a short story and you want to show rapid movement, you can increase your rate. But for the most part, at this point, you breathe from your diaphragm, not your shoulders. Project your voice, find that optimum pitch, and vary your pitch around that optimum pitch. Now, some people ask me often about vocal fillers, and those are the ums, or all the little fillers that we use. The main thing there is just to be aware that you have them. Your brain will automatically correct it. So if you notice you're saying a lot, don't get all stressed out about it when you present. Just make yourself aware of it and let your brain help you, because it will naturally filter some of those out. So besides voice, stance is very important. The stance, just place your feet underneath your shoulders and stand confidently. Maybe even lean forward a little bit. When you move, you can move intentionally. So maybe your first main point, you spend your time over on this side of the audience. And when you move to your second point, you might move over here. Use it with intentionality, or stand just confidently. With your arms, your gestures, just let them talk. Let them be. And over time, it'll be very natural. You don't want to use the fig leaf and cross your hands in front of you. If you're going to keep them anywhere and you're not going to move them, keep them at your sides, and people will naturally focus on you and your face rather than your gestures. Again, let them freely talk. Even if you do this at first, that's a good step. Eventually, your hands are going to talk naturally. Your mind can only think of one thing at a time, and if you're thinking of your content and trying to relate with your audience, you really don't need to be tripped up with an over-focus on your gestures. Again, it takes time. And finally, eye contact. Probably the most important of all of these. You don't want to spend your time in your notes. It doesn't show confidence. And this is what I coach those that want to learn about speaking well or presenting well. Is it's mechanical. It seems artificial at first, but it's very important to the audience. Think of the audience as one person, and you got to be fair to them. So here is the general rule. If you focus on someone more than 3 seconds, it's a little too much. And if it's less than 3 seconds, it seems too darting. So you want to focus on someone anywhere between 2 and 3 seconds, and just like a camera, move your head, focus on someone for 2 or 3 seconds. You can look at your notes, come back and talk to someone over here for 2 or 3 seconds, and pan evenly, not mechanically, but evenly, here, there. And if they're empty seats, it's okay to talk to an empty seat. Your job is to show appropriate nonverbals so that the audience members can digest your information and not be distracted. So let's go over those again one more time. For your voice, breathe from your diaphragm, project, find your optimum pitch, and vary your tone and your rate to make it more conversational. Your stance needs to be confident and secure, but you can move with emphasis. And with your gestures, just let them talk freely. Don't disturb your hands, let them go. Eventually, you'll find a nice rhythm. And then for your eye contact, the most important thing, 2 to 3 seconds each person, and vary it as you work at looking at your notes and talking to people. Don't look at your notes very long, and you can't do that if you use a key phrase outline.